Hello and welcome to another installment of How to Do Everything, a podcast which is hosted, for better or worse, by me, Tommy Dasilo. And today on the show, KYLE Kinane is going to teach me how to crash a houseboat. And look, folks, we went real farm to table on this one. I've been away for a little bit. I was hoping to be able to do an episode of this on the road, have a bit more time to edit it. It did not pan out that way. I had Kyle lined up for this morning, the day that I normally release episodes. And so here we are. I've done the ep. I've quickly gone through it. We had a bit of technical issues that I had to kind of figure out in the edit, so hoping it all sounds okay. I wanted to just get this out to you folks. So, little disclaimer there. If there's any glaring technical hiccups, I'm sure I'll catch them before too long and I can re-upload the episode. And I'm sure there'll be some of you out there falling over yourselves to let me know that I've made a huge mistake. One way that you can always send me feedback is through our Patreon, patreon.com/howtodoeverything. Bonus episodes go up there every week. I've had Dave Anthony and Gareth Reynolds from The Dollop on quite recently. There's a bunch of great special guests in there. There's also a monthly radio show where I play music and I chat in between the songs. So get on there. I think it's a really great bank of content and it is a great way for you to support the show and keep the lights on. Today on the show, KYLE Kinane. You know him, you love him, one of my favourite comedians. He is on tour all the time in the States. He's got a couple of fantastic specials on YouTube. Dirt Nap is his most recent one. I saw him do the show live here in Melbourne and I loved it. So if you are not familiar with KYLE Kinane, pause this and go and watch that special. But it was great to catch up with Kyle. He had a lot of fun stuff to say about the state of comedy. But anyway, let's get into it. This is How to Do Everything with KYLE Kinane. It's hey Kyle, it's lovely to see you, and you're now part of an illustrious group of people who has been the victim of basically a midlife crisis because of having to fill out the little survey that I send to the guests. Right? It's always fun reading the answers and there being a point where the person is just breaking down and saying to me in the little Excel spreadsheet field I just see, Tommy, I got to be honest with you, I don't know how to do fucking anything.
Yeah, I've been trying to reckon with myself without you addressing it. Like, oh yeah, I don't have a pivot.
But you seem like a guy who knows how to do a lot of stuff. Like I would pick you as a very handy guy, a guy who, if life throws you a curveball, you know what to do.
No, then my skill is seeming like the guy. Then my skill is presenting like I have knowledge of multiple topics. After I filled out that, I realized, like I was trying to think about like what jobs I've had. And I'm like, oh, I'm the guy who's willing to do the thing. So, oh yeah, you got to clean the bathroom. I'm the guy like, yeah, all right, I'll take the extra $1 an hour to be the guy that cleans the shitter. So my skill is not a skill. It's just a willingness to do the things somebody else won't do.
Right. And how do you,
maybe,
when you get thrown into that situation, how are you approaching that? Are you just figuring it out on the fly? Because I was thinking about how, like, I have a friend who, bought an old house, like bought a shack and kind of did it up. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that you knew how to do any of that stuff. And he's like, I didn't. I was just putting together YouTube tutorials and just studying them and figuring it out. And so you realize that now it's so easy you can decide to engage with a part of life that you know nothing about, but you can just study online how to do it. But I was thinking, like, 20 years ago, the way that people would just learn how to do stuff, it's given me so much more respect for the different, like the older generation who, if they went, I bought this old shack, I'll just have to literally figure it out by myself.
Well, and the willingness to fail in order to learn.
Yep.
Whereas I have it's obviously it's been memed to death, but the growing up in gifted classes, we're like, oh, this kid's like being smarter than my class. It wasn't tough. It's the American education system. Me being gifted mean I crested average. That's all it means. But then because it is true, and not to sound like I'm using it for an excuse, but then they say, like, well, if you've been told that, "Oh, you're smart," that once something does become a challenge, you think it's impossible because
Sure.
I'm already instilled with this idea that, well, I'm special, this should be easy, and if it's not easy, it means there's no way it can be done. Whereas
Right.
everybody else that didn't get told that understood that, like, all right, trial and error, learning can be tough. I'm gonna have to work on these things. I'm gonna have to study for tests, but then that skill will carry over to later in life. Where like, yeah, some things are challenging, but you can get it done. Where I'm like, a challenge, I crumble. I crumble in the face of challenge.
Yeah, I'm absolutely the same. I found a lot of school subjects came fairly naturally to me, and I mean, it's good at the time, but yeah, it does curse you because the first time something's a bit hard, you're like, "Well, I guess I'm just not meant to do this." It's like, no,
Yeah,
no one can pick up a guitar and instinctively know what to do on it. You gotta
no, that's one. That's two. There's five over other there. The five there. There's one upstairs. I can't play any of them.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
also locked into the point of like, well, if I buy gear, it'll make. Well, you bought the thing. You better be.
yeah.
Now you got my
Nah,
old house, same thing. I God bless these empty nester dads
mhm.
that have now turned their, like, model train and woodworking obsession towards video creation. So,
Sure, yeah, yeah.
like, you can tell that they already know how to, like, replace the seal on a refrigerator door.
Yeah.
Their excitement is getting the video right and the lighting right. So all the knowledge these empty nesting dads have, they're excited about creating the YouTube, and I am so grateful because that's what I'm doing with this 100-year-old
Mm.
there that I live in, so
That's a good point. I mean, there's no pointless hobbies. Everything can just be turned into like if the wife's yelling at you that you're down in the basement playing with those trains and doing nothing, if you're like, "Hey, you know what? I'll get the ring light out. I'll get the camera out. And if I start making some videos that turn a profit, then she can't be mad at me for wasting my time
yeah.
because it's become a second income stream."
And even when you have no skill whatsoever, then you pivot to life coaching. Now now your content can be about wellness, like, "Look at me. I don't know anything, yet
Yeah.
I'm here to inspire you to feel good about yourself because
Yep.
I don't have fuck all going on, and I still somehow like me. How could
But
that
that's
be?"
But that's the best one for it, you know, you couldn't get on, YouTube and make a video series about how to play guitar if you were a really bad guitar player, but frequently in life, you get the best life advice from the person whose life is falling apart. So, in many ways, the worse you are at life, the more qualified you are to be a life coach. Does that make sense?
Well, of course, I don't wanna hear about how to patch up a leaky boat from a guy on dry land.
Who's
I wanna hear about it from somebody who's got a lot of patches in his boat and the boat's still floating. That's who I wanna hear about it from.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, but also
If
they don't, if they had a skill, they'd probably be teaching you about that, but their skill is bullshitting, so they're life
Yeah,
coaches.
the skill is just how to, that's the thing. There's so many like I think all the pop psychology stuff at the moment is really good and really helpful for a lot of people. But sometimes you're in a discussion and people use the buzzwords at you, and you're like, you know what? Human interaction is more deep and nuanced than being able to fit neatly into one of these five categories of like,
Yeah.
you know, avoidant or whatever.
Yeah, and I should say, like, I'm not, like, to take shots at life coaches. If the person watching that life coach then can go about their day believing in themselves, mission accomplished. I'm not trying to say that, you know, your cup of coffee is different than anybody else's cup of coffee to get you going
Yep.
during the day.
Yep.
I think it's corny, but if it works for you,
Then hey.
but also like you're saying, don't use it on me. I didn't watch the life coach. You
Yeah,
watch the life coach.
exactly.
You don't get
Yeah,
to
yeah.
alley-oop life coaching. You don't get to assistant life coach me.
I shouldn't need I shouldn't need I shouldn't need reference material for this argument that we're having, you
Yeah,
know? I shouldn't be needing to get the thesaurus out to look up what you're saying I've brought up in this
yeah.
conversation.
I'm
So
uncoachable. I'm not playing that. I'm not playing that. I'm uncoachable on this.
if you had to like make the pivot right now and just, chuck it all in and just start the YouTube channel that's you dishing out the how-tos, what would be the go-to? What would be the thing that you think you could just get going on?
That was the crisis to that form that you sent of what I mean, truly, and even with stand-up, like, when people it's always the joke about the people that teach stand-up and even the closest, the most respectable teachers of stand-up will say, "I can't teach you to be funny, I can teach you to be funnier."
Mm-mm.
Like, even that always feels we were talking before that. I mean, there's comedians that are wildly successful right now that in my taste, I'm like, I don't understand it, and there's comedians that nobody knows that bomb at open mics, and I love them.
It's
How
always
am
the
I gonna
way, isn't it?
reconcile my taste and try and teach
Yeah.
somebody stand but it is the only thing that I've at least immersed myself in for long enough of a time that I could speak with some reverence and some wisdom on, but even then, I
It
got
is
my
it
ass
is the
pretty
life it's the life coach thing. It's the life coach thing. You can only tell people about how to live if your life is completely fucked. In the same way, if you're good enough at comedy and therefore good enough to potentially be able to teach it, your wisdom is kind of invalid because the thing that you find the funniest is people doing really badly. Once you've
Yeah,
done it long enough, that's truly the only that's like I don't know what to tell you. Like my advice, if you want to impress me, if you look up to me and you think I'm worth making laugh, what you should do is go out there and do the most half-assed fucking job that you can and bomb spectacularly. That
yeah,
would win my respect.
yeah,
Class dismissed.
the worst advice, but I'll give it to you, play to the back of the room.
Yeah.
If you're willing to make which no, I will stand by this as good advice for stand if you're willing to make only a few people laugh the hardest they've ever laughed
Yes.
at the sacrifice of the whole rest of the room,
Mhm.
then that's magical, as opposed to everybody having a nice time.
Yep. Yep. Those 5 people that had an 11 out of 10 experience, they'll always come back. You can
Yeah,
always count on those 5 people. But 100 people that maybe had a 7 out of 10, they're
yeah.
forgetting that immediately. They're not
What was
bothering next
yeah, what was
time.
your favorite joke? I don't know, we went out afterwards, then we went to the pub and yeah, like, then you failed at comedy.
Right, right. You just reminded me. I listened to you about a year ago on that. What's it called? The Good One podcast.
Okay.
The with
Yeah, yeah,
Jesse
with,
Dev Fox,
Jesse
where
Fox, yeah.
he breaks down. He gets comedians on to break down like a specific routine, and you were on talking about a special that you did, and it's funny to listen to because it's like, I loved that special. I was keen to hear you talk about the process of it. But through the course of the discussion, you are so reticent to get too deep into the weeds of comedy. Like,
Mhm.
this real push and pull between you knowing what the
Yeah.
podcast is, but really not being comfortable being up there being like, this is how it's done. And I totally get it.
Well, it's like, yeah, it's, the after, after the game is played, post-game interview with a player
Mm.
where there's 0 insight. It just, "Well, they played a little harder than we played, but we had some setbacks, and they took advantage of those setbacks." Like, you coulda said, like, that's what I get I think you get to a point with comedy
Yeah.
of like, "Well, how do you the experience happens, and I sit in the experience for a while, and I try to find what's interesting about the experience, maybe not the direct route to the punchline." It's like, "Fucking shut who cares? There's
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah.
interesting about that to me."
And then I make up a snappy thing that I said at the end of the story just to really make it all come together.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah, the like I said, the college term paper. You just talk about whatever you want,
Mm.
and then the thing you said at the beginning, you say it at the end, so it sounds
Yeah.
like it was the theme. Hence the festival show.
Mhm. Mhm.
Introduction, 45 minutes or whatever you wanna talk about, and then at the end, you recap what you said and tie it back to the thing you said in the beginning. Oh my god, what a feed! What a
Yeah,
feed!
I had this kinda quite weird experience recently that I was thinking like, "Oh, yeah, I should do stand-up about that," and it's like, there's kinda so many different layers to it, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, how am I gonna tell this? I wonder if I could do it on stage or if there's too much going on or whatever," and then literally the thing that convinced me that I have to do it on stage is I thought of a way of doing something at the end of it that ties into the beginning of it. Like, I was like, "That's so stupid." Like, that's the thing that makes me go, "This experience is worth talking about," when, like, there's so much stuff in the experience that is so crazy and relatable, but literally a dumb semi made up thing where I'm like, "Oh, I could bring that back."
Yeah,
That's the thing that makes it worth talking about.
but
God.
then as somebody watching it, I would be like, "Oh, nice." Even though
Oh,
I'm
he's done it.
actively criticizing it right now, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it was the thing from before."
Oh, it gets me
I
every
feel
time.
okay leaving now. I feel okay
Yeah.
leaving.
It truly is the magic trick,
Yeah, it's neat.
you know the guy hasn't made the thing disappear, but it's still like, "Hey, it's impressive. It got
Well,
me."
that's what I've been saying about crowd work. It rarely is it actually clever, but it's subway magic. It's in a
Yeah.
moment. It's the guy doing 3-card Monte on the train platform. It's
Eh.
not good. We all know how it works, but because the train's coming and this guy's like, "Double or nothing." "Oh, he got me again." "Wow,
Yeah.
how'd he do it?" He did it because you're not really paying attention. Things are coming and going. "Oh, this crowd work's amazing." It's not really. It's in the moment. You're there to laugh.
Yes.
It's very charming people doing just doing sleight of hand.
Yep.
And
Yep.
who am I to tell somebody they're not having a good time?
Yeah, sure. I do love anytime I'm on Instagram and I see a Kyle Kinane reel come up, I always in my head think, how long until he mentions in this reel that he hates doing reels and that he's just doing this? How long until the fourth wall of the reel gets broken? And it's often within about 5 seconds. You're like pointing at the camera and you're like, this one's just for the gram, folks.
There's, feed the rhythm, baby. Feed the
You
rhythm.
you gotta feed the rhythm.
But
Well,
sorry to say that you see, I wind up talking about comedy because it's the only thing I could talk about with any semblance of knowledge. I have no that or like
of
80s
course.
BMX riders I could talk
Oh
about.
yeah.
But
Okay.
then I
Well,
can't
how
do
about
that stuff. I could just kinda talk about
you
some
absorb it?
a
Yeah.
little bit, but I'm never were you ever, like, a fan of something where you had immersive knowledge of, like I never did that with stuff, like
Yeah, I've got a couple of things that I've really, I've bored some people. I've chewed some ears off in a
would
bathroom stall at 3 a.m.
would that qualify as a skill under the guise of this show or no?
That's a good point. I mean,
Comedic knowledge of something.
yeah, I have a pretty encyclopedic knowledge of video games and especially
And
Nintendo in the 80s and 90s, and I can
okay.
really bore you about the development of their characters and them as a company. But yeah, I mean that's very limited. That's not helpful knowledge for me at all. Other than when I'm on my video games podcast. Apart from that,
When it's required, yeah. Well
when it's required for work, yeah.
I mean, like your friend with the old house and just YouTube, I again, grateful for that, but I am it's weird to be, like, 48 and
Mm.
maybe our dads, maybe previous generations hid the satisfaction of accomplishment when something worked the way it was supposed to after they did the stuff on it. Because I just I have, like, memories of my dad doing plumbing projects in the house and just swearing and my mom being like, "It's ba" he gets mad, he gets like well, I would suggest leaving the man alone.
Yeah.
He just wants to swear at these pipes, and
Yeah.
you're standing over him, not helping.
My
But
dad
her
would
eyes like, "Oh, you need an extra person there to hand to," like and I'm like, "Oh, I get the just wanting to swear at stuff." I tried to put a bike together. I like to ride mountain bikes, not good at it, but I figure I ride them enough, I should know how to assemble and disassemble these things. Was took me 7 days. A bicycle, for a bicycle.
You're
and
so right though.
garage door from a tool that I flung at it, and all the memes about people named Kyle,
Yep.
100% true.
You live in a mall, yeah. You're so right though, you've tapped into something about, I think, the masculine urge to construct something or repair something and just be swearing your ass off while you're doing it. Like, even just me buying a bit of furniture from IKEA and assembling it, and my partner will walk past the room and be like, "Man, it was really scary how angry you were getting in there." I'm like, I was having the time of my life." And she's like, "Yeah, but you were huffing and puffing," and you're just visibly going you're
Well,
audibly going like, "Fuck this," constantly, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's part of the game." That's like that's the you can't
yeah,
quite get that last little bit, and then you realize you haven't, like, looked at the thing properly, and you put one bit round the wrong way,
yeah.
so now you gotta disassemble the whole thing. You're like, "Oh, you fucking
The
cunt." It's
unspoken part of the instructions is that you're gonna
yeah.
do it wrong because you skipped a page because 'cause you're like, "I got it."
Yeah, it's going into the woods and screaming, or it's going into the spare room and assembling a little chair. It's
That's
just like that level of just getting it all off your chest.
I had an old joke about, like, well, Jesus was a carpenter, and I'm Christ-like because I also put together some IKEA furniture, although I'm pretty sure Jesus didn't call his TV stand a twat 93 times over the course of an afternoon. But other than that, me and Jesus pretty alike.
Yeah, pretty similar.
Well,
My
that's
yeah.
I was gonna say that, I, you know, hired people to redo a bathroom here, and there's this moment where you're like, "Alright, this is a lot of money to redo a bathroom," and then you're watching what they're doing, and they're like, "Not to undermine, the workers out there," but I'm like, "I think I could do a lot of this stuff." And then it took them 4 months to do the fucking bathroom, and so I was like, "Oh, I can't get the fan." I'm like, "You know what? Leave it." And they came back the next day, I'm like, "I put it in there. How much money are you cutting off the bill because I put the fan in?" Like that
Right.
I was getting to that point with these people because I'm like, "Oh, you just" I don't trust any contractors, I don't.
Yeah, it's for you just made me think, like, that every now and then there'll be like a random, "Oh, a study has found that these are the jobs where you're most likely to do this," or whatever, and it's like, how did they conduct this research? They
Yeah,
should do one on the jobs that most people watch and are happy to tell the other person, I could do that probably just as well as you." Obviously, comedy is right up there. You meet audience members all the time that are like, "I'm funnier than you," and either want to prove it during the show or will say something to you afterwards. But you're making me realize, like, yeah, contractors, tradies. I don't know if you ever watch Grand Designs, but like the guy that's getting his house built, and the
yeah.
personality type that's like, "No, I'm gonna be in there on the ground every day, telling the construction workers what to do,"
Oh,
and you just see them be
fucking
like,
guys.
"You fucking get out of here."
You talk to the one guy who's like, "Yep, we can get this job done," and that guy hires 9 versions of me to show up. That guy hires 9 dudes playing grab ass, just drinking Monster Energy drinks and smoking in
Mhm,
the driveway,
mhm.
taking a break from that long enough to come inside and fuck up some pipes, fuck up some tile, put a faucet in crooked, and then leave for the day. I talked to a guy who seemed professional, and then they demoed the bathroom. The one guy was in there, he was on crutches for the first few weeks. He shot himself in the leg. Shot himself with not a piece of construction equipment, a gun, a
Full
real
on
gun.
gun.
I'm
Hell
like,
yeah.
because he was wearing a Thrasher sweatshirt. I'm like, "Oh, like, you hurt yourself skateboarding?" He's like, "You wanna know?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I thought somebody was, in the by I had my piece, I shot myself in the leg." This is a guy I'm hoping put the walls in so they don't fall down. He shot himself in the leg. I pretty sure they were doing meth because I didn't move into the house yet. I'd come by at, like, 8 o'clock at night. Nobody should be
Mhm,
here. They're both in there. This is a small bathroom, Tommy. It's like 4 feet by 8 feet,
mhm.
and they're both in there doing tile work, which is techno music blaring loud enough they can't talk to each other, and they're just in there doing it's like, "Fine, do meth." Meth is a detail-oriented drug. Do all the meth.
Sure.
Putting tiles
Productive.
in. I show up one night, the dude's girlfriend is just hanging out here. I'm like, "Who are you?" "What?" They're not re they're not real jo like, We can
How
do that right now.
romantic.
If you
Babe,
need
come
one,
past. Hang out on the
you
construction site where I'm working.
you go to any construction site, like, you need an extra pair of hands to pretend,
Mm.
you get a job. You should get a job.
Yep.
Fu
Yeah, absolutely.
now I'm fired up. Now I'm fired up about these guys. I
There's
got suing the guy that fucked up my deck. I had to fire 15 months of one guy coming around hungover. Ugh, it's
Yeah.
too hot out. It's too rainy out. It's too I'm like, I'm gonna do these things.
You're
Thank
so right
thank
about
you for letting me
the
go. I'm gonna do this myself.
the productivity of meth. You're so right. There's a comedy club here in Melbourne, and an urban legend about the club is that, well, I think this really did happen, but it's become stuff of legend. This is like 20 years ago or something. There
Oh,
was a comic at the time who was kind of down on his luck, and he was living out the back of the club. He was like a regular there, so he's like sleeping in the green room, and he had a bit of an ice addiction at the time, and I think the owners kind of turned a blind eye to it because it would mean that in the middle of the night, he would just get all charged up and, like, be up in the roof, like, fixing up the lights and just, like, doing bits of, like, cleaning and, like, handiwork around the club, and they were like, I mean, not great that he's just doing drugs on the premises, but the place has never looked better. He's really doing a good job at cleaning this joint up.
yeah. If it was just cleaning, I think it was their ambition to do a job to completion without doing it right, which is what I was, they
Sure.
they put the shower floor in, and then there's just a puddle in there. I'm like, "Well,
Yep.
the puddle," and one guy goes, "Ah, I thought that was gonna happen." Like, "Then what? Then why'd you do it? Then what?"
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
You're trying so hard to not lose your," because I don't know how to do that stuff, and
Yeah.
I don't wanna be the backseat driver,
Sure.
you know? I don't wanna be the stereotypical, "You're doing that wrong," without having done it myself.
Sure.
But when
Sure.
it's glaringly obvious, like when the faucet's coming out of the wall crooked and things are like, and I'm like, "God, what? This is wrong." Like,
But then you have
"You
that
did it wrong."
experience and you realize every time someone's come up to you after a show and gone, "You know what you should say at the end of that bit? You should say this instead of this," is like, for them, what's led them to that moment is they've watched your routine, and for them, that's the faucet that's sticking out the wrong way. You know what I mean? Like, they've sat there and gone, "How does he not see this?"
I've had other comedians I respect point out things where I've been like, "You're right, thank you," and it is hard to take that
Yes.
note from an audience member
Yeah, yeah.
because usually they're wrong.
Yeah,
I had somebody
yeah.
correct me the other day. I was talking about, like, the speed of a liquid or something
Mm.
moving, and I like, with a viscosity. Guy's like, "Velocity." Like, "No, I'm smarter than you.
Well,
I'm
again,
smarter
this
than
is
you. I know what I
yeah.
meant to say."
Yeah. Well, this is the whole thing too with the, like, the online, like, the reels culture and everything. Like, I put this bit online that was like, the conceit is that I hate trivia nights because I always come away feeling so stupid. So I wanna run a trivia night where I have a round and it's just all questions that literally no one on earth knows the answer to, and it's things like, when you go to the pharmacist and they say it'll take, like, 15 minutes, and then they come back with some stuff that's already in a little bottle. What are they doing back there?
Mhm.
And I put it on, and it's just a few things like that, and I put that online, and so many of the comments on TikTok are just, like, answering those questions. It's like, it's actually that they're doing this. Are you stupid?" And it's just all these people really getting into me of how much they hate the bit because they're actually, like, some people get on there and they know one or two of the answers, and then there's some people that have just answered all of them. It's like, "It's this, it's this, it's this, it's this," and it's like,
I
"Cool. Thanks for engaging with my stand-up comedy."
Yeah, yeah. I can tell you have a great sense of humor. Please never come to my show.
Right.
Oh, it
Right.
angered so many people. Like, I was just I get it. I make the mistake of where I'll troll. I had salsa, I had some salsa, and I had, like, just
Mhm.
crumbs of the bag left,
Mhm.
and I was on purpose just taking crumbs in my fingertips and putting my whole finger in the salsa. People are like, "You gotta pour the chips in a bowl," and then put the salsa on top. I'm just I guess I was doing something to be an asshole, and people responded in kind, and then I couldn't take it. Actually, that's
I
on
guess.
that's my
Yeah, yeah. But it does make you think anytime you see a funny meme of someone that's just like, yeah, the whole
oh,
point of the video is like, I'm doing the wrong thing on purpose, how many comments they must get. It is always fun sometimes to just click that button and
oh,
just see what's going on
just
with
fi
how some
fif
people are living their lives.
50 minutes into a show where you know how, like, you'll say a premise, and then you may pause for effect,
Mm.
and then somebody goes, "Well, why?" Like, "No, that's the end of the joke, actually. No, I just put unanswered questions out there to torture you, and then I say goodnight. You didn't learn anything." But also I have to, like, "Okay, how long have you been doing this, Kyle, before you remember that you dance for drunks?
Yep.
You
Yep.
are a stripper of your emotions.
Mhm. Mhm.
You gotta get to
Well,
it's a late show on a Friday. You gotta get to that. You can't leave pauses. That once there's a pregnant pause, they start to think on their own, and that goes wrong for everybody. That's not good for
yep.
anybody when they start thinking on their own."
Yeah, there should be, the clubs where you have to lock your phone up now. There should be something that, like, I don't know, renders you mute when well, no, people need to laugh, so maybe that's not gonna work. But if
Yeah,
there was
or
some
you
kind of thing that, like, some magnet that affected their brain that affected the part of their brain that wants to pipe up, that they could, like, walk through on the way in, that would be good.
I am conflicted with how much I should be able to deal with that versus how much I want comedy audiences to have grown and
Mm, mm.
sure. Like, come on, you know the deal at this point. This isn't a new art form.
Yeah.
You can't be confused on how this works. I
Right, right.
but some people, they've had drinks and they if you have made them feel comfortable enough that it is conversational and they wanna talk, I need to be less bristly. And
Mm,
I
mm.
I need to be maybe that's my
It
skill set I can work
y
on.
You're right,
Skill.
it does feel like audiences, like, perception of stand-up has not really it does feel often sometimes at some gigs like it is an art. When you read those stories about, like, the first time people saw Elvis and they're like, "Oh, he was shaking his hips," and people in the crowd just didn't know how to handle it. They didn't know what was going on. It's like, yeah, this guy was up there and he was saying stuff that was kinda offbeat and odd, and we just didn't know
Yeah,
what to make of it, so we just started yelling out.
things came out of my mouth. I do that at scary movies when something happens, it's like, "God damn," I'm like, "All right, I couldn't help myself. I got scared, I couldn't help myself." Some people that happens with joy. I am now
Yep.
at this conversation learning I could be better. So,
Yeah. Well, there you
some
go. I
ca
helped you. Yeah.
yeah, but
You might enjoy this. I was just in Newcastle doing a show. I did this gala at the Civic Theatre in Newcastle, and I know there are a couple of people that listen to this who are there, so they might enjoy hearing the other side of this. So it's like this beautiful 1,400 seat theatre, and I was on second. A guy called Sam Taunton was on first, and this guy Elliot was hosting the show. And lovely guy, young guy. He gets on and he opens the show. It's like 7:30 at night kickoff, big packed theater. He opens the show with like 4 minutes of just filth. Just goes so hard, straight out of the gates, doing all this stuff about fingering. And he's this young guy who looks very young. And we're backstage kind of losing our minds. I'd never seen this guy before. Like, I knew him, but yeah, I'd not seen his act. And so, yeah, he's just going so fucking hard, like, no preamble. Does this, like, honestly, about 3.5, 4 minutes tops, has a bit about his grandma sucking him off, and then goes, "All right, guys, we got a great show for you this evening. Your first act." And the first actor who's waiting to go on was standing next to me, still kind of thinking he's got another 10 minutes to get in his head, to get in
yeah.
the zone. Here's the MC after 3 minutes of just filth, go to throw to him, and very loudly goes, "What?" And I laughed so hard that I had to go out the back of the theater because then I was on next after this guy. I was, like, crying. I had, like, like a tension headache, like, in the back of my head, like, this throbbing pain from laughing so hard. And so then I'm, like, I've barely recovered by the time I go on. So I go on and I'm, like, my eyes are red. I've still got, like, tears running down my cheeks. It fucking destroyed me. It really was a thing of like, you know, someone was asking me yesterday, how's the gig? And I'm telling them that. And I'm like, it was one of the best nights of my life. And they're like, how'd everyone go? And I'm like, I've got no idea. I didn't watch any of the rest of the show. Like,
Yeah.
why would I care if my friend's material went well? That happened. That's enough.
Yeah, I saw what I think is comedy at this
Yeah,
point.
exactly.
Sadly, my what makes me laugh is different.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck about Nick Cody's kids. I just care about
Just clip that out. Clip that part out where
the world's shortest clip with the
what are we
highest
talking about?
reach.
We don't give a fuck about Nick Cody's kids.
But man, those moments where you're, that like, backstage with like 4 other people just all weeping. It's like, oh yeah, I hadn't had one of them in a while where you're like, you're so bonded by something absurd that's happened at the gig where you just know that it'll be, those moments that you've had with other comics where there's like, you can be 10 years down the line and you've still got a shorthand from this like one absurd gig that you did or crazy thing that happened at a show.
Oh, sadly it's them. Well, they just did the Portland's Funniest Person contest all summer. And, by the time you get to the semifinals and finals, it's people that are pretty good at comedy competing to get this title. That's not interesting to me. I like them. They're my friends and good luck. I want to see the first few weeks.
Oh,
And
yeah,
it's people that have
absolutely.
never done comedy, don't even know what a comedy club is, but saw, oh, maybe, I don't know. I think I'm pretty funny. And it's just crazy people signing up to perform something.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
maybe I'll be Portland's funniest person. And they're just lunatics.
I'll be the
And
funniest person in the war zone.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, 'cause straight out of the battlefield. I missed the one ti and the best is that they'll tell them, like, "Okay, you have, 5 minutes. At 4 minutes, you'll get a light. At 4 minutes and 30 seconds, that light will start flashing saying you really need to wrap it up. And at 5 minutes, that light will stay red, and then in 15 seconds, they cut the mic, and then 30 seconds, whatever it is, and then the lights go off." And to watch the number of people that did not pay attention to that preamble at the beginning of the show are nervous or are just crazy, and then the mic stops, and like, "I guess the mic's broken," and then they're talking, and then the lights go off. I'm like, "Yeah, I guess there's a power outage." And it's just a person in a dark room just
Yeah.
rambling, and that's when I laugh the hardest, sadly. I guess that's
Do you not think that unfortunately the sort of style of internet comedy that we don't particularly love, that unfortunately there is something to be said for that creating more of the wackos on the bottom end of the scene because it's so accessible to see that stuff, and this like internet age of just being able to put anything out there. I think there is more of a thing that makes the insane man on the street go, I could do that. I would say like more than ever before. Do you know what I mean?
I actually, I would argue against that because I think before, God forbid, I talk about being 48 and doing comedy before it was on the internet, that the purity of weirdo you got that wanted to sign up for an open mic, not because they might get famous and go viral, but because here's a room of 30 people that have to listen to me.
Yes, yes. Good point. Good point.
That was a more pure weirdo
Good point.
and a more pure, I think, comic in general than this idea that like, oh, what version, what Xerox of a Xerox of a
Right.
character. Because this is, and I don't want to hijack this podcast and make it about stand up, but it's the only thing I could talk about. We can't talk
Sure.
about anything else, Tommy. I don't know anything else. I don't know anything.
Hey, I'm enjoying hanging out with you, and I'm sure the
Me
listeners are
too, but I
enjoying hanging out with you
realize
too.
this is turning
Go
into just
for
talking
it.
about comedy, but
Yeah.
that now it's no. I think people that are in their 20s like don't know what hack is anymore.
Yeah.
Like they didn't. I watched comedy in the 80s and the 90s and know it. they don't know. I mean, there's characters, there's like a Kill Tony guy that's just doing Andrew Dice Clay.
Right,
But
yeah.
nobody
Those, like,
knows what
crowd work, the old school, like, hack version of crowd work is now the thing that pops
Yeah,
off on a
there's
reel and gets
nothing
millions of views, and you're like, if you saw someone do that 15 years ago, you would boo. You would be like, "Get a load of this
Yeah,
loser."
it was the thing you did when you were bombing. Somebody I forget what
Mm.
other comic said this. They're like, "Yeah, it's crowd work's what you did when your material doesn't work."
Right,
The
right.
goal is to create material that works. But
Yeah.
again, who am I to tell an audience they're not having fun?
I don't wanna name the person, but there's a guy, who came out here from the States. He's like a big crowd work guy, and he's like one of the original ones. He's not like a recent, so this is like, yeah,
Yeah.
7 or 8 years ago, maybe longer, and he was doing a gig I was on, and he, all the pageantry of, like, getting the little camera set up at the back of the room. I think he was actually using a proper, he didn't have just, like, the iPhone or the small little GoPro that everyone
Yeah.
has now. And even just seeing someone do that was like, "Whoa, what's this guy doing?" And he and he sets the camera up, and he gets up on stage, and it's this gig in Fitzroy. It's pretty cool. It's not like a huge room. It's like a pretty
Yeah.
chilled audience. And he gets up and he's like, "Oh, what about you?" And he's like one of those like combative crowd work kind of guys, and he's
Yeah.
trying to get it started, and just people are just like, "Oh, and no one's really giving him what he wants. And then just seeing him go, and then just have to go into the material. It's like what you say, crowd work used to be what you did when you were bombing. And
Yeah.
but for a lot of those guys now, it's like the material's what you do when the crowd work is bombing. And
Yeah.
him just going into his like 7 out of 10 bits, and just you could see the look of disappointment on his face of like, I carried the tripod up the stairs. What a waste of time setting that up. Good
Sorry.
God.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And not to take away that there's some guys that are incredibly clever on their feet and really can make a meal out of it, and, "Oh, wow, you really did put things together in a way that I couldn't have done that quick." But so much of it's just the f again, the subway magic of, like, "Look over here, this is what's going
Yeah.
on." There's one a guy that's massive with crowd work, and he's just doing Aziz Ansari's character from Funny People when he was doing
Oh, yeah.
Randy. It was like,
Mhm.
"What are we doing? Randy!" Like,
Yep.
"What do you do? You do what?" Like,
This guy
that
knows what I'm talking about. This
that
guy definitely knows what I'm talking
it
about.
was a
Yeah,
character to make fun of it, and now that's being
exactly.
done sincerely, and I'm looking at it like, "Well, this sucks," but somebody who's 25 doesn't know that, and they had the best time of their life,
Yeah.
and again, I'm thinking like, "Oh, I'm the 15-year-old who wants to hear Blink-182 because Big Black doesn't make any sense to me." I
Right,
don't
right,
I
right.
get that Steve Albini's a genius. This music feels like homework.
Mm.
I wanna listen to Green Day and 1-4-5 chords, and I wanna have like, I wanna understand how the song's supposed to go, and everybody that's like an actual punk is like, "No, this stuff is like." I'm like, "Oh, this is just that version. This is what I'm doing now to
Right,
people that are
right.
trying to enjoy this thing." So,
Yeah. I just went and did some shows, in Queensland, and while I was there, I caught up with my very first ever girlfriend who now lives in that area. My girlfriend from when I was 13 years old.
oh,
We met together. We met in hospital when we both had basically the same form of cancer, and we were
oh,
friends. And then,
these are
yeah,
Make-A-Wish
we had
buddies.
a little, yeah, we had a little 6-month romance, and so I met up with her. I hadn't seen her in, yeah, like since then, and she we were hanging out the first day, and I was like, also, you mentioned when we were messaging that you live here with your partner. Like, how long have you been with him? And she's like, oh, it was like basically 4 years, but like, yeah, we just broke up yesterday. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, are you okay to like hang out, or and she's like, "No, no, it's fine." And I'm like, "Oh, well, if you don't mind me asking, like, what happened?" And she goes, "Ah, a lot of things, and, one of them was that he was really weird about you coming here and us hanging out because he thought that we were gonna hook up." I'm like, "Wow. No, really? you know, you live this life where you think it's of little to no consequence, where you're like, I just go around and is anyone's life really changed by what I do? And it's like, no, I roll into town and I have an impact. I have an effect on the lives of at least two people, regardless of how these gigs go. Two
Oh,
people's lives have been altered forever by my mere presence in this town.
I don't need Tommy Dassolo rolling through when you still have the image of his 13-year-old cancer-stricken body. And he's coming back through.
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
Fit and ready to steal my girl?
I have to assume she didn't show him a photo of me because there's no way you'd look at this and be like, that man is a threat.
I don't need some survivor's fuck that you guys made a pact when you were 13. If we both make it through and we're
Yep.
40, we gotta bang. Like, good for old Tommy D. Still just a fact. Rolling through town, you're ending relationships.
I know, and I was like,
You felt bad.
he knows he knows that I'm engaged, right? Did he know that? Did you
It's
relay that in some way? Like,
I mean,
yeah.
I've listened. I don't know the scenario all the way. Does it sound like there was
Mm.
something else going on, or this guy was
There
straight
were
up
there
at
were
4
yeah,
years
there
in?
are other things going on. I think was a bit of the. I think it was more like his jealousy about it that made her go, this is not
Well,
good.
I
But
guess after 4 years, I don't think a 4 years of a blissful relationship ends because, your
someone catches
your
up
your
with,
your childhood hospital romance is coming back
yeah,
through.
yeah. Even even calling how do you feel about, like, even I mean, I feel weird about it's just like an easy, quick way to tell the story, but referring to someone as an ex from when you were 13
Yeah,
just
that's not real.
feels crazy. Like, I invited someone to come and see my show this year, and they came along, and they were talking to me afterwards, and they were like, "Oh, that this person was in your crowd." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it's a friend of mine." And he's like, "Oh, it's so weird to see her because, she's my ex." And I'm like, "Oh, that's crazy." And then I caught up with her later, and I'm like, "Hey, your ex, that guy was also in the show." And she's like, "I went to primary school with him and we, like, kissed in year 7. That's it." Like, fuck, this guy
Yeah,
rules. My ex.
yeah. Well, when we were 12, we were going to couples therapy to make it work. We went during our lunch break. And we tried. You know, you grow apart, you get different interests, you just mature differently.
Yeah, yeah. Even people that I dated, like, early 20s, it feels weird to call them an ex after that long. Like, I feel like ex is almost exclusively, like, the one just previous. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
think the
Like, once
title
you've gone
wears off.
further
Yeah, I
and
think it's
further back.
Highlander rules, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're talking about a different version of yourself that dated a different version of that person. It's like you may as well be talking about something that happened on a TV show. It's two people that don't exist anymore.
Yeah, it sounds like Homeboy had some real hang-ups otherwise, outside of that, but
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to know that there's always gonna be a guy out there just cursing you.
I still like Tommy D, the relationship slayer, though.
I know. I gotta find out if I've got any other exes that are living in different parts of the world where I
Yeah.
can just blow in and just really wreck the joint.
Hide your wives if they happen to have gone to junior high school with me.
I
Hide
mean,
your
that's the
wives if we ever
thing.
played kickball together.
It would be it would be absurd even if I was single, but I'm not. Like, that's the crazy thing about it. Like,
Oh, it's as we can't speak for other people's mental place and how they
true,
process things,
true.
but yeah, I'd be like, "Man, get your shit together, dude."
This is me, the life coach. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
here we
Just
go.
figure it out, man.
Call that guy life
Um,
coach that guy back into a relationship with your ex.
yeah, yeah, it could happen. Could happen. I'll
I
reach
didn't mean to
out.
blow up your
I'm
spot,
sure
buddy.
he'd
Hey, this
love
is
to hear
Tommy, I
from
didn't mean
me.
to blow up your spot, man. Hey, she's a nice gal. Trust me, I know. You should really give her another chance.
Oh yeah. Hey, something that you know, you're saying that you have nothing else to contribute to this podcast.
Yeah.
But you were what was it? You were in charge of you were you were piloting a 70-foot houseboat.
Oh, that was yeah, my, partner, at the time, I was having a birthday, wanted to have a birthday on Lake Powell, which is a large lake between, where are we at? Around the northern Arizona border.
Mhm.
And it's a man-made lake, so you can kind of, take watercraft out there and say, "We got a houseboat." And, I was gonna be in charge of driving the houseboat, of which, like, it's not like a roadway, it's a lake, how tough can it be?
Mhm.
We get there, it's, you're supposed to get this 62-foot one. We don't have that one. You're gonna get the 70-foot one, which we're already talking very large.
Mhm.
And so it's the reason I have YouTube Premium to this day is because I had to download instructions on how to drive a houseboat. To to put it okay, and I stepped up to the thing. I'm like, "You know what? I'll do it." I wanted to
Mhm.
be the guy. We had previously gone to Lake Powell before, just the 2 of us on a smaller boat, maybe. She knows how to handle boats. And we were on like a 17-foot, 18-foot kinda the kind you'd water ski behind, but it's the one we do. In Lake Powell, it's basically almost part of the Grand Canyon that's been flooded, man-made flooded, and it's all these outlets that you can kinda go off into, and you just dock the boat, and you camp for the night. And
Mhm.
it's, if you don't think about the horrors of what a dam does to the indigenous communities, it's a pretty fun time.
Really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't think about
It's that's
the
true
bone
of
the bones of the original peoples that inhabited the land that you're jet skiing over, you can have a pretty good time.
it's kinda true of most places, really. You could say that about a shopping center.
Yeah, this one's real obvious, though.
Yeah.
You just see half of a hieroglyph coming out from the waterline. Um, I don't know, it looks like the top of a buffalo they were hunting. I don't know, but anyway, so this is how much I know about boats. So she was driving the boat the first time we went, the smaller boat. She's like, "Okay." We loaded everything on the boat. I had to bring the carts back and bring the truck with the trailer and park it. She's like, "You
Mhm.
come back to the dock, and then I'll pull up to the dock and you catch the boat." Now, when I hear catch a boat, I think like catch a train or catch a cab or like I didn't know catch a boat means sit there at the dock and then when the boat's coming, stop it from hitting the dock.
Mhm.
Did you know that's what it meant?
Absolutely not.
How was I supposed to know that? I know nothing about boats.
Yeah.
So you catch the boat. So she's coming and kills the engine, and then the boat's coming up by the dock, and then I just jump from the dock into the boat, and then the boat crashes into the dock. And she's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm catching the boat."
That didn't come up on YouTube Premium?
Well, this is
What
the
did you
first time we were
subscribe
there.
for?
This is
Oh,
the
this is the
first
first time.
time.
Okay. Right, right,
And
right.
other people are there. "Are you guys all right?" She's like, "We're fine." So I'm like, and we avoided a fight in that moment because I'm like, "Listen, you need to pretend like I'm 6 years old and I know nothing about boats because that is the knowledge level that I'm operating at."
Sure.
So that set the stage for this next time. Now we're getting a 70-foot houseboat. I'm like, I'm gonna know about boats. And by know about boats, I'm gonna subscribe to YouTube Premium so I could download a couple videos on how to pilot a 70-foot houseboat
Can I say,
the night before we leave.
crazy, crazy that she's into the idea of a 70-foot boat with you after that being the first experience.
Well, and then this is how nonchalant the boating is over there. You don't need anything. Like they're like, "Yeah, you rented this boat? Take it." Like, no, some guy runs through and ran through a list of like, "All right, there's 2 motors left and right. Here's the power system. This is the battery. If your battery goes past 70, you gotta shut it down to cool it off before this one engages and all this stuff. All right, you guys ready to have a good time?" And we're like, "Yeah." And then that was it.
There
It
are
was a
parts of America that feel like Vietnam or Thailand in that regard, where you can just hire a car without a license or any form of like verification that you're able to drive if you go to like Southeast Asia. It's so easy to just get
it's like,
any kind of machinery. And you would think in the States it would be harder, but I get
no.
the impression there's pockets where it's like, yeah, man, here's a gun, go
This is
for it.
already a flooded lake. Like there's no everything's sacrilege in this area.
Mm, right.
So we don't care. It's like, and it's It is still, it's the American West, and it's still, it's Nevada. Go
Sure.
here, shoot machine guns, have a 70-foot boat that nobody knows what they're doing on. And so I managed to get it out of the harbor. And the most difficult part wasn't like the driving was actually still straightforward. It had 2 levers for each engine because that's your left and right. You still have a steering
Yep.
wheel, but for power. But to dock it, like there's no dock. Now you're just going to find a sandy enough area. Keep in mind, it's cliff walls. Most of this lake is cliff walls.
Mhm.
But now you navigate down little channels and try to find a beach that you have to drive the boat like nose forward onto the beach. But then as soon as you do that, other people have to jump off and then tie down, like, I mean, triangulate's not the right word, but so now the boat can't go back and forth from where the nose is docked. So I finally find a beach, but it's also very windy. So going slow enough to where you don't destroy the boat, but get enough of it on, it goes sideways, and then the people can't get the ropes in. So I had to try it so many times. It's a muddy beach. People have lost all their shoes. They're sinking into the sand trying to tie us down. And I have to go back and forth and back. I was not drinking at the time. And
Well, there's your first mistake,
huge
If you
mistake,
had a
not
little
drinking on a
more
boat.
yeah, and, a little more confidence, little more artificial confidence in that scenario is what you need, I reckon.
I had what, rarely do I have the moments that you can only imagine, like the focus
Yeah.
that a fighter pilot must
Yeah.
have, or just something where it's like, no distractions.
Mhm.
Danger doesn't exist. We
Mhm.
have a mission to accomplish. Once we got it in, I was drinking like a seltzer water. I spiked it on the deck of the boat and I think I just ate a fistful of mushrooms immediately. I was like, now I'm guaranteeing I can't do this shit. So it better be here. And to our credit, and to the tone of that lake, we woke up to something hitting the side of our houseboat. Somebody else's 16-foot boat just got loose
Yeah.
and floated into our part of the lake.
Mhm.
It's a whole 16-foot boat just was loose,
Yeah,
clanking
no
against
one knows what
ours.
they're doing out there. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody came around the next day. They were drunk. They're like, we lost a boat. What gets over here? Like,
I
you want
think
some beers?
this is really tapping into, like, what we were saying about the, like, the tradies, the people's approach to stand up and thinking that they can do it quite easily. I definitely have this with heavy machinery, like, seeing a huge boat or a huge truck or, like, any kind of, like, forklift or anything, I'm like, "Yeah, how hard can it be? I can drive." I play a
Yeah,
lot of video games where you just get in there, you push the lever, you go. What's the
it's
big deal?
well, and why more people like it's not courage or brawn or masculinity. It's just the ability to believe in yourself. And
Yes.
also, simultaneously, the ability to forgive yourself if you do it wrong and just try again.
Right.
It's
The
those
no one
2
got hurt
things
no
the
one got
world
hurt
will
is the greatest yeah.
the
The
world will
world keeps
open up
turning.
to you if you're like,
Yeah.
"You know what? I am gonna give it a shot, and if I don't get irreparably harmed, I'll try it again if I get it wrong."
Yeah. I saw an Instagram video last night of a guy, like a truck driver, and it's basically a time lapse video of what his morning is like before he gets on the road, and he's got
Yeah.
his little bit that he's sleeping in out the back of the truck, and it looks really nice. It looks really cool. He's got a little tour bus kind of set up. He's got the little air fryer there. He's cooking himself food. He's getting out. He's got the little water thing on the side of the truck where he's brushing his teeth, and he gets in, and the whole kind of the little bit that he's in at the front all looks really nice. And just watching that video, I was like, I reckon I could be a truck driver. You don't even see him driving the truck in it. Just literally what his life is like overnight. That's
Yeah.
all I saw that it made me go, yeah, I could handle that life. I could do that.
I
It's
used
just a big car.
my jobs where I was like, I was just the guy willing to do the thing. So that's why I worked in warehouses. I'm like lifting stuff, No brains, no skill. Lift, put this. It's not like I was strong or anything, but I'm willing to bust my ass at 17 or 18 rather than working fast food. Those people deserve medals of honor.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you're a teenager and you're working the counter at fast food in the town you grew up in, so
Yeah.
you have to see people you know,
Yep.
that's more terrifying
Mm.
than any stand-up gig ever. Is like,
100%.
you already know this guy's a dickhead in school. Now it's nighttime, and there's no teachers that are gonna kick him out, and you gotta serve that kid?
And you're working for him. There's a hierarchy here
Yeah.
now where he is giving you money. You are
Yeah.
for 5 minutes, you are his servant who is cooking him food and bringing it to him.
I took jobs where my life was in danger as a high schooler to avoid those jobs.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
worked at
Yeah.
factories where the one, like, it was a deep freeze because it was bakery, like, "Up, you're in the deep freezer all day." I worked in a sub-zero freezer. I had a snowsuit, but I had, like, airwalks. I had skateboard shoes on, froze my toes. But I would load trucks with a forklift, and I would always talk to the truck drivers because 'cause I'm just like, "You guys are just seeing the country. You've seen all the parts." I'm like, I'd, like, make them like, "Can I see inside the truck?"
Yeah. You guys
"Oh,
ever read
oh,
On the
this is
Road?
yours?" Yeah, I live with my parents, so even, like, the little bunk in the back, I'm like, "This is all yours? You're just camping, you sleep in here?" I'm like, and then, again, it's the algorithm fed me some guy who just plays a fun song, and he backs into, like, the line of trailers.
Mhm.
But he's got, like, a fun song playing, he's got the lights in, he made it he knew the TikTok thing.
Yeah.
He's got lights in his cab, but he's just backing it up into the roll, and he nails it. That that is my ASMR or
Yeah.
whatever kind of stimming is watching guys back tractor trailers in with one shot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, the
You,
the same thing is, like, watching people pilot that stuff.
mm,
I met those a lot of 'em, like, that's an entry level skill people have. I mean, here it's wild how many like, you see so many trucks adorned with, like, it's obvious it's a lot of immigrant labor. It's not the job people want, yet I view it
mhm.
as not only the skill, but the patience
Mm.
to tolerate other drivers that are cutting you off constantly, not understanding the physics of driving a vehicle that large, and for you to not just blow up.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
watched I I watched a semi truck. I was surprised it was in Denver, Colorado a couple weeks ago, try to run somebody off the road. I'm like, "Well, your job's gone.
Yeah.
Everybody's taking a
It's
picture of the of your truck,
yeah.
but you
It's
finally had enough." And I'm like, "I get it."
It's so many of the elements of what we do, but you just don't do a show at the end of the night. That's really the only
Yep.
difference. Away a lot of travel, dealing with fuckheads out in the world, sleeping in weird, potentially uncomfortable environment, but
Yeah.
you just don't do a gig at the end of the night. That's the only
God,
difference.
God, I need comedy to get back to being not cool. I need it back.
Mm.
Like this, oh god, it's so scary. There's nothing scary about it. There is 0 consequence to doing poorly at stand-up.
Yep.
Theo
Yep.
Von bombed at his Netflix taping, it's all over the internet. He's gonna be fine.
Yeah, he gets to get on the pod and be like, y'all, I've been having a tough month, and people are like, "This
Yeah.
is so brave. More men could learn
Oh,
from this vulnerability."
it went weird, so I'm just gonna do it again later, and I'm gonna make a joke about this.
Yeah, right,
There's
right.
nothing there's nothing that like, "Oh, it's cool." It's not cool. It's stand-ups for ugly losers, and
Yeah,
now there's hot
none
winners
taken.
doing it, and it's skewing the expectations.
Yeah. Yeah, it's totally like the gig itself isn't the scary part, it's everything else in the day or night if you're traveling that's the scary part. Like, I was
Yeah.
just in a hotel room where I checked in and went, "This could be the room where I kill myself. This is a maybe one of the bleakest accommodations I've ever been in, and I'm here for 3 days." Like, the fear of being up on like, about to go on before the gig is nothing because it's like, I'm out of that room. It's after this when I go back, and I'm like, worried that I'm gonna catch bed bugs or that, like, the guy I can hear screaming in the next room is gonna, like, break the door down. That's the bad bit.
I was in Baltimore this last week, and I was telling a story the first time I played Baltimore, which is, like, a notoriously dangerous city, and I
Mhm.
remember walking home after, getting drunk and then ordering pizza, but also telling the person at the pizza place, I'm like, "If I'm not at the hotel when you get there, you should call the police because I know where I'm going. I'm not gonna get lost, but it's real scary, and so if I'm not there, something bad happened to me. I will tip you. I'm gonna tip very
Yeah.
well, but if I'm not there, I'm not joking. Call the police. This is my name. This is what
Oh,
I look like."
man. Yeah, yeah, the gig itself is not yeah. Man, that's a hell of a prank to put in the Uber Eats delivery in the
Yeah,
notes to the
yeah,
driver. "Hey, I know it's common now to just not even knock and just leave the pizza on the doorstep, but I'm gonna need you to get a proof of life.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
you need
going
to
to need you to get a photo of me holding today's paper on the doorstep when you drop this off."
yeah, take the picture of the food on the porch with me next to the picture because 'cause I'm gonna need that needs to be sent off to somebody. I need you to know that this is the time of day. Yeah, exactly.
All right, Carl. Well, I'm sorry to have caused you a midlife crisis in filling out the survey, but thank you for doing it.
I
Always
needed
great
it.
to see you.
I need it. I'm gonna take some YouTube lessons for these guitars back here now.
The great man, Kyle Kinane there. Always fun to be in his company. I hope you feel the same. A fun, laid-back chat with my buddy Kyle. And if you're in the States, go see him on the road. You can check his website, kylekinane.com. Has all his tour dates on there. He's out there all the time. He's one of the best. And he's got his specials up on YouTube. He's got a couple of albums out there on the streaming platforms. One of my favorite comedians. Some of the sharpest bits going around. Yeah, one of the true greats. And if you want to be one of the true greats, you can get onto our Patreon, patreon.com/howtodoeverything, as I mentioned up the top of the show. Bonus episodes, all sorts of great stuff on there, heaps of special guests. So get on there and support the show. Guys, thank you for listening. Send me a message on Instagram at How to Do Everything Podcast if you like the show, if you have anything that you want to let me know about. Get onto your podcast app of choice and leave us a nice review if you are so inclined. Thank you for joining me. I will see you next week. I got a couple of episodes lined up, so I'm not going to have to be editing these and uploading them on the day. Got some great guests coming up. Thanks as always for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time. See ya.